The 1st of September, 1939. After a false accusation that the Poles attacked a German radio station, Nazi Germany launches a retaliatory campaign against Poland, triggering World War II. Poland finds itself fighting a two-front war when it's invaded by the Soviet Union from the east on the 17th of September. Warsaw officially surrenders to the Germans on the 28th of September. And one day later, in accordance with a secret protocol to their non-aggression pact, Germany and the Soviet Union partition Poland. They divide Poland into thirds. The western third annexed to Germany, the eastern third annexed to the Soviet Union, and the middle third turned into a semi-independent administrative unit called the General Government, which is run by German authorities and divided into 4 districts, one of them being the Warsaw District. The SS and police leader for the Warsaw District, responsible for the brutal atrocities against the Poles and Jews, is Franz Kutschera. Franz Kutschera, the son of a gardener, was born on the 22nd of February 1904 in Oberwaltersdorf, then part of Austria-Hungary. The First World War began on the 28th of July 1914. And upon completing his primary school, Kutschera began service in the Austro-Hungarian Navy as a ship's boy. Following the end of the First World War on the 11th of November 1918 and the dissolution of Austria-Hungary, he followed in his father's footsteps and became a gardener. From 1920 to 1928, Kutschera lived in the Sudetenland, a border area of Czechoslovakia containing an ethnic German majority. In December 1930, he joined the Austrian Nazi Party, and in November 1931 became a member of the SS. In January 1933, Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany, and he fully intended to bring about an Austro-German union. However, Germany was not immediately militarily and diplomatically ready to carry out Hitler's foreign policy goals. First, Hitler and other Nazi leaders focused on establishing a Nazi dictatorship. However, behind the scenes, the Nazi leadership began planning territorial expansion and a European war almost as soon as they took power. Beginning in May 1933, the Austrian Nazis waged a propaganda and terror campaign, which was encouraged and funded by Germany. The Nazi goal was to undermine the regime of Austrian Chancellor Engelbert Dollfuss by making it look incompetent. They staged disruptive protests and brawled with political opponents and the police. Austrian Nazis set off explosives and tear gas bombs in public places and Jewish-owned businesses. In June 1933, in response to a fatal Nazi bombing, the Dollfuss regime banned the Austrian Nazi Party and its affiliates. Although the Nazi movement became illegal in Austria, the Austrian Nazis continued to operate illegally within the country. Kutschera remained a committed party activist and was arrested several times by Austrian authorities for illegal pro-Nazi political activities. In the spring of 1938, Adolf Hitler annexed the federal state of Austria into the German Reich. The Anschluss, as it became known, took place over 3 days between the 11th and 13th of March 1938 and was the Nazi German regime's first act of territorial expansion and aggression. Even though the leaders of the West saw the Anschluss as an invasion, not one government made a move to stop Hitler, who without interference felt free to embark upon the next step of his scheme to conquer all of Europe. Austria was no longer an independent country and became a province of Nazi Germany referred to by a new name, the Ostmark. The former states of Austria were reorganized into 7 Reichsgaue, or administrative subdivisions, each under the rule of a government official holding the dual offices of Reichsstatthalter, the governor, and Gauleiter, the Nazi Party leader. One such official became Franz Kutschera. In March 1938, he joined the civil administration of the newly established Reichsgaue Carinthia as an aide to Gauleiter Hubert Klausner. On the 24th of May, Kutschera was formally appointed Deputy Gauleiter, essentially running the Gau during Klausner's frequent absences in Vienna. After Klausner's sudden death on the 12th of February 1939, Kutschera was elevated to the post of acting Gauleiter for Carinthia. The same month, he also became an honorary judge at the People's Court, which was infamous for its unfair political trials. The Second World War began on the 1st of September 1939. After the German invasion of Yugoslavia in April 1941, Kutschera was transferred to the annexed Carniola, located in present-day Slovenia. While there, he distinguished himself by his fanaticism and extreme harshness in the so-called bandit fighting operations against Yugoslav partisans. In June 1941, under the codename Operation Barbarossa, Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union. From the end of January 1942, Kutschera was part of the staff of the higher SS and police leader for Central Russia. Soon after his arrival on the Eastern Front, Kutschera personally directed numerous anti-partisan and mass-killing operations in the occupied territories of the Soviet Union, particularly against Soviet partisans. In November 1942, he was given the rank of Major General of Police, and in May 1943, he was appointed SS and police leader for the Mogilev district in eastern Belarus. During his service in Slovenia and Belarus, Kutschera became known as a ruthless officer who employed brutal methods. It is believed that for this reason, Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, decided to transfer him to occupied Poland with the task of implementing a hard course against the Polish population. Thus, in September 1943, Kutschera took office as SS and police leader for the Warsaw district of the General Government in German-occupied Poland. Kutschera's arrival in Warsaw coincided with a drastic intensification of terror against the residents of the Polish capital. The methods used by the Germans to terrorize the city included mass roundups and executions of hostages, carried out in retaliation for any anti-German activities. Every day, lists were hung in public announcing the names of the next Poles to be executed in the event of any attack on a German soldier or police officer. These notices were always signed anonymously by the commander of the SS and police at Warsaw District. Executions were conducted not only secretly in the ruins of the Warsaw Ghetto, as before, but also openly in the streets of the city. Moreover, in addition to political prisoners arrested by the Nazi secret police, the Gestapo, ordinary Warsaw residents who were randomly caught during street roundups were also executed in large numbers. Under these circumstances, no resident could be certain of their safety, and every trip outside the home was fraught with danger. Contrary to popular belief, Kutschera did not originate the brutal policies in Warsaw. These were planned by police authorities in the general government or directly by SS leadership in Berlin. However, Kutschera enforced them rigorously and without hesitation, often signing announcements of hostage executions anonymously as SS and police leader for the Warsaw district. During his tenure, it is estimated that up to 300 people per week were killed in Warsaw, with the total victims reaching at least 4,300 and possibly up to 5,000. This earned him the nickname, the Executioner of Warsaw. Kutschera's exact whereabouts in Warsaw were a closely guarded secret within the Reich Security Main Office. However, in December 1943, Alexander Kunicki, chief of intelligence for the anti-Gestapo unit of Kedyw, discovered his location. Kedyw, a special operations unit of the Polish Home Army during World War II, was responsible for conducting sabotage, diversionary activities, and intelligence operations against German forces occupying Poland. During his routine surveillance of the Gestapo offices in central Warsaw, Kunicki noticed an Opel Admiral limousine entering the driveway of the nearby SS headquarters. The SS officer who emerged from the car wore the clearly identifiable rank and insignia of Brigadier General. Intrigued, Kunicki began to secretly monitor the mysterious SS officer's arrivals and departures from the SS headquarters and filed a report with his superiors. The SS man was soon identified as Kutschera, who lived only 150 meters away at Rouge Avenue No. 2. Kunicki also discovered that despite the short distance from his home to the SS headquarters, Kutschera always used his car to get there. Following this discovery by Kunicki, Kutschera was tried in absentia by a secret special court of the Polish underground state. He was charged with crimes against the Polish nation, particularly the routine mass murder of Polish civilians in Warsaw. Kutschera was convicted and sentenced to death. In London, the leadership of the Polish government in exile concurred with the decision of the special court and approved Kutschera's death sentence. The execution order was soon drafted and relayed to the commander of Kedyw, Brigadier General Emil August Fieldorf. The assassination team consisted of 12 operatives and planned to carry out the execution in front of the Warsaw SS headquarters. The first attempt on Kutschera's life was prepared for the 28th of January, 1944, but had to be aborted after Kutschera failed to leave his home that day. The second attempt took place on the morning of the 1st of February, 1944. At 9:09 a.m., a signal indicated that Kutschera was leaving his house in his limousine. As he approached the SS headquarters, his car was blocked by another vehicle. Two resistance fighters exited the car, approached the limousine, and opened fire, killing the driver and severely wounding Kutschera. A third fighter then finished the 39-year-old Kutschera with a shot to the head and searched his body for documents. A shootout erupted between the German guards and the covering team, resulting in several resistance fighters being wounded, but they managed to escape in their getaway vehicles. The original evacuation plan failed, leading to a desperate search for a hospital to treat two wounded underground operatives. After several attempts, a hospital finally admitted them, but both died within a few days due to the delays. Meanwhile, two other operatives were intercepted on the Kirbecz Bridge. After a brief exchange of fire, they jumped into the Vistula River and were shot at. Their bodies were later recovered by the Germans. In retaliation for Kutschera's death, the Germans executed 300 Poles the next day. 100 hostages were murdered in a public execution near the assassination site, and the remaining 200 were executed in the ruins of the ghetto. Warsaw and the surrounding towns were subjected to a 100 million zloty contribution. Additionally, Polish restaurants were ordered to close, Poles in Warsaw were banned from driving cars and motorcycles, and the curfew was moved from 8 p.m. to 7 p.m. On the 4th of February 1944, the German occupation authorities held a ceremonial funeral for Kutschera, temporarily evicting Polish residents from homes along the procession route. During the ceremony, Kutschera was posthumously married to his pregnant Norwegian girlfriend, Jane Lillian Steen. She was 14 years younger than her dead groom, and her family sympathized with the Norwegian Nazis. The wedding took place at Brill Palace in central Warsaw, and Kutschera was then buried in the Heroes' Cemetery, established by the Germans at the Bowarski Military Cemetery. Both Kutschera's wife and son, Sepp, did survive the war. In 1990, Kutschera's remains, along with the remains of over 2,500 other Germans who died during the war, were exhumed and moved to the German War Cemetery near Skierniewice, located approximately 70 kilometers west of Warsaw. Franz Kutschera, in his role as SS and police leader in Warsaw, committed numerous atrocities and acts of violence against Jews and Polish civilians, becoming a symbol of terror for the local population. For this reason, his name was not inscribed on the cemetery's gravestone tablets. There were no tears shed for Franz Kutschera. Thanks for watching the World History channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next episodes. We thank you, and we'll see you next time on the channel.